Hello everyone, it's Yukon Bob with another Yukon Bob video production, this time in my hometown of Whitehorse, Yukon Territory. You can see behind me there the beautiful Yukon River with its turquoise green color. This is the beginning of a 17-day trip that's going to take us through the Yukon, the Northwest Territories, and into Alaska. So buckle up your seat belts, roll up the window to keep the dust out, and let's begin our journey. How you doing, Captain? Good.
I brought the drone along on this trip, so you are going to see some aerial shots throughout this video. Here's Whitehorse from the air, the Yukon River on one side, the Clay Cliffs on the other side. It sits on this little flat plateau. And this is a shot of Main Street, driving down Main Street in Whitehorse. Brought some friends along on this trip. My neighbors Jeff and Linda from one court over are with me, and also with me on the trip is Malcolm and Kathy. They live just to the north of Kingston. For both of these couples, this is their first time north of the 60th parallel.
Okay, so this is downtown Whitehorse. This is the White Pass and Yukon route building at the end of Main Street in Whitehorse. And they've really sort of developed the area back behind the White Pass and Yukon route building a little bit more now, so that there's a bit of a boardwalk area and stuff like that. And this is the famous Yukon River. Pretty fast current in the Yukon River. This runs all the way to the Arctic Ocean. And you can see it's moving fairly quickly. Kind of an aqua green color to the water, particularly when the sun is out. And across the river over there, that's the hospital in Whitehorse. And this running track, this walking track now goes all the way down along the river. But it's kind of cold this morning. It's only about 8-9 degrees out here. This railway track is part of the White Pass and Yukon route railway line that used to run all the way to Skagway, Alaska. The train doesn't run to Skagway, Alaska anymore. Runs, I think, just as far as Lake Bennett from Skagway, then turns around and goes back. But this was built during the Klondike Gold Rush, mostly after the rush was over, but it linked Whitehorse with Tidewater in Skagway, Alaska. It's a narrow gauge railway. There aren't too many of these narrow gauge railways left in the world, but this is one of them. This is Chevy Suburban LT. This is our rental vehicle from Driving Force that we're going to have for the next couple of weeks. It's going to be $150 or so a day, something like that. And got tons of room. We've got lots of great seating in there. It's got captain's chairs in the back, so that should be fine for us. And we got 5 people in here, and it will fit us just perfectly. So that should just about be perfect for us, and it'll be great. So that is, what's your name?
They call me Bruce.
Well, how you doing, Bruce?
What you doing?
I'm doing a movie for the CBC. You want to be in my movie?
10-4.
10-4. Bruce is in my movie.
Bruce Watt.
Bruce Watt. He's a Yukon boy. Lives in the Yukon. Are you born here, Bruce?
Yep.
You weren't born here.
I was born in Mayo.
You were born in Mayo. Mayo's up the highway from Whitehorse, not that far from here. And Bruce is kind of looking after the area around here. Right, Bruce?
I watch my friends.
You watch your friends, and you keep your enemies closer, and your friends close too. But keep your
What you
enemies
doing?
closer. Making a little movie for the CBC.
To do what?
Put it on the News World channel. And you're
Care about us?
going to be in this movie now, Bruce. From Mayo.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
This is Bruce. Bruce is from Mayo.
Bruce is what you would call part of the colorful 5% in the Yukon. Later in the afternoon, we headed to Schwatka Lake. It's just to the north side of Whitehorse, or to the south side of Whitehorse. It's the floatplane base for the area. It's also where Whitehorse gets its drinking water. It's situated right behind the dam. Great place for some scenic views.
So this is Miles Canyon. Comes out of Schwatka Lake, part of the Yukon River system. This is the place in 1898 where all the prospectors had all the trouble. Because in those days, this was raging white water through here, and they had a lot of trouble coming up through here. A lot of them lost their boats and rafts through this section of the river and drowned. But this is Miles Canyon, and that's the Miles Canyon suspension bridge that you see way down there. I used to water ski right through here. Probably a bit stupid, especially when you met the MV Schwatka coming the other way. It was a little narrow. So here we are, Miles Canyon, right along the edge. Don't want to fall in here. There's the suspension bridge down that way. This is the SS Klondike. Used to ply the rivers between Whitehorse and Dawson City. The boat actually operated probably into the 50s, 54, 55s, 56 maybe. This boat was running the Yukon River when my folks first moved to Whitehorse. They never went on the boat, but she was operating then. And then when I was in elementary school in the 70s, this boat was pulled by caterpillars down the streets of Whitehorse from its previous location, probably about 3-4 kilometers to this current location where it rests now. And then Parks Canada threw a lot of money into this boat to restore it to its original design of what it would have been like when it actually went down the Yukon River. This is the land of the midnight sun. It's 9:30 at night. You can see where the sun is on the horizon there. It's still got several hours to get down. Won't get dark till about 11:30 midnight. And then even then, it'll just be kind of dusky. And then the sun will start to rise again. But the sun still will, in Whitehorse at this time of year, set. But it won't set in Dawson City. Well, I'm not sure about Dawson City, but it definitely won't be setting in Inuvik, where we're heading. So this is my room at the Midnight Sun breakfast. I'm in the Yukon room, which is number 3. Let me give you a quick little look at the room. Very nice. They've got it decorated all nicely. Double bed, TV, internet, phone, all of that stuff is here. Nice little closet. And then over here, I'll just flick the light on. Yeah, little bathroom, stuff like that. And these are the folks. Breakfast. It's a good setup. They got about 3 kitchens in here, and you can just make your own breakfast. They've got a full fridge, cereal. Let's have a look in the fridge, show you what they got. All the yogurts. Look at that. Make your own breakfast, and away you go.
Not too far from my bed and breakfast, down at the shipyards area of Whitehorse along the river, we went and visited a boat building display put on by some Yukon Aboriginal people, and we just sort of took a look around.
I guess these would be some of the traditional tools that would be used in making these boats. Moose antler, caribou antler. And then of course there's the modern tools too. and then they'll steam this whole thing and it'll open up a lot more and be a lot wider. This is what it looks like when it's all done. It's kind of like this. So you can see it gets quite a bit wider once it's been steamed.
Headed about 25 kilometers north of Whitehorse to the Tuktoyaktuk Hot Springs for a dip in the soothing hot water one afternoon. Didn't bring the camera into the pool, just sort of put the camera up over top of the fence and shot over the fence to give you an idea of what the hot springs looks like.
Here's our group. This is the first shot of our group. Drowned fish. They're all looking their best. After a nice little dip in the Tuktoyaktuk Hot Springs. Did you guys enjoy that?
Oh, it was fabulous.
That was nice, eh?
Oh, unexpected treat for the Yukon.
Nice.
On the way back into town from Whitehorse, we stopped at Whistle Bend, which is Whitehorse's newest subdivision in the city. And the reason we stopped here is because this idyllic little location used to be the Whitehorse dump. That spot that you saw over to the right-hand side a moment ago, the green spot there, is where everybody used to go from Whitehorse and dump all their garbage there, right over that bank, down on that green spot. It would flow down into the creek, which would then flow into the Yukon River. That's all been changed now, and it's actually a very pretty location.
This is the Carcross Desert, just a couple of kilometers outside of Carcross. World's smallest desert. It's just this anomaly in the middle of nowhere. You get all this sand. Pretty bizarre. But what a beautiful location, surrounded by all these mountains. And it's just a little pull-off just off the side of the highway. And Carcross is just down there. So this is Nares Lake. It's the lake that connects Bennett to Tagish. Tagish is that way around that mountain. And Bennett is down that way and around the corner and about 20 miles down. Do you know when the next train's coming? Oh, darn. Darn. Gorgeous. Just get rid of those power lines and it would be the best shot ever. Yeah, Jeff just pointed out, if you look at the water, you can see all the silt being picked up by the current as it comes through here off the shoreline and pulling it out into the river. I don't think Linda's coming down, guys. How you doing?
As we left Carcross, we decided we'd take a drive down to my old cabin on Tagish Lake in the Yukon and just see how much has changed over the last 10 or 12 years since I was last there.
Things have changed a little bit here. The land has been opened up a lot more. A lot of trees have been taken out here. Looks like they put a septic field in over there. Cabin actually looks exactly the same, except for the front deck. Although that looks the same too, it's just new. But not much has been done to the cabin. The siding is really fading. Tin roof is really faded. Looks like they're doing a bit of a dig over here, maybe putting in another cottage or something up there. I don't know what's going on there. But there's been some heavy equipment in here. Changed things around a little bit. Okay, time to put the drone in the air. Well, this is Lake Labarge, just to the north of Whitehorse. Yukon River flows into Lake Labarge. It's a fairly big lake. If you're canoeing down to Dawson, this is potentially a major obstacle because you have to cross this lake, and this lake can get pretty rough. Not today. Today it's like glass. It's just about 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's very, very still. Be a great day to be heading across the lake. But it's a long lake, 35, 40 kilometers long, something like that. Then the Yukon River heads out to the far end down there. Time to make our way towards Dawson City. A lot of bus tours in the Yukon in the summer. I just asked this guy where he's going. He's heading up to Dawson City. He's got a little bug swatter there. He's trying to keep the bugs away from his bus so they don't get inside, because there's a lot of skeeters around here. So this is Braeburn Lodge on the Klondike Highway. This is the home of the famous cinnamon buns. You can buy one cinnamon bun here. It'll feed 4 people. It's been here for 40 years or so, or maybe longer. It's famous for its cinnamon buns. Right across the road from the Braeburn Lodge is a landing strip for aircraft right off the side of the Klondike Highway. And it's about a 4,000, 5,000 foot strip, so pretty long. And this is the Braeburn Lodge. Okay, let's go see what these Cinnabons look like. Okay, there they are. Ready to go.
Okay. Okay. You say so? Well, they're all good, right?
As opposed to 2 bad ones. How many do you sell a day?
Anywhere from 0 to about 200.
200.
Well, on the winter days. Like,
Yeah.
You don't sell that much,
That's a Yukon setting.
Tell me that's not a Yukon. It's Cinnabon. There we go.
During the Klondike Gold Rush of 1898, there were thousands of prospectors who navigated their homemade boats and rafts up the Yukon River. This was one of the trouble spots for them. This is Five Finger Rapids, and only one of the Five Finger channels was deep enough for the stern wheelers that plied these rivers and the currents, because the water was pretty strong here. At high water, a stern wheeler who was ascending the rapid could only move up until the back wheel lifted out of the water, and then the vessel, well, began to lose power. So what they did is they attached a cable to the rocks so that the stern wheelers could then winch themselves upstream. It took about 15 to 20 minutes to pull themselves through. A little bit further up the road, just as we get towards Carmacks, about 50 kilometers south of Carmacks on the Klondike Highway, this is Twin Lakes, one lake on each side of the highway. Again, it's got that really kind of beautiful emerald green color, much like Emerald Lake towards Carcross in the Yukon. Just put the drone up in the air here for a little bit to fly around and just record some of the colors of the water at Twin Lakes. Around the next couple of bends, Dawson Town.
gotta say, it's colorful. All right, so welcome to Bunkhouse in Dawson. This is what you get in Dawson City for $85, $89 a night with tax. It's pretty basic. You get this bunk double bed here. It's not a bunk bed, double bed. Basic little room. Get a couple of towels. The washroom and showers are down the hall. And that's it. Well, what do you need? I'm here one night, gone in the morning. That's it, 85 bucks instead of $200 over at the Westmark. This is what I get here. Give you a shot down this way. You can see a few more interesting buildings down here. Okay. This past weekend they had the Dust to Dawson motorcycle rally here. People from all over North America drive up to Dawson City on their motorcycles. And that was this past weekend. Today is Monday, so that was the busy weekend was just a few days ago. There are still some bikes that are here, but a lot of them have now pulled off and gone elsewhere. The wood even smells new here. I can smell all this wood. It's not cedar, but pine. It smells new. The guy was telling me at the front desk that business has been really, really good this year. They've been busy every night almost, and they see no signs of it letting up for the summer. Toe for the sourdough cocktail is missing.
A human toe has fallen prey to some sticky fingers in Dawson. The gnarled digit is the essential ingredient in the famous sourdough cocktail at the downtown hotel. We're furious.
You know, I know what happened. I know what happened.
Toes are really hard to come by.
Linda and Jeff orchestrated this because they didn't want to drink that drink. They didn't want to make that toe touch their lips.
I wanted to have
And now it's gone.
Yes.
And asked for the recipe. And
But you
they
know what's
said,
really wild?
You have to have the toe.
$2,500 if we go find a gnarled toe.
Is that what they're paying?
Have a look.
Bob, hold them down,
Yeah.
Lynn.
The boots are here, but the feet are gone. This is it. This is the start of the Dempster Highway. It's about 747, something like that, kilometers to Inuvik, Northwest Territories. This is the beginning, kilometer zero. These are our intrepid travelers. Are you guys ready for the Dempster? Okay. Can I get a yes from the front?
Okay.
Okay, can I get a yes from the back?
Oh man, the year of planning, we're here.
After looking around the interpretive center for an hour or so, we decided we'd stretch our legs a bit and go on a bit of a hike. And the hike would take us all the way along this river up to that ice field up there. A couple of kilometers up, couple of kilometers back.
This is not a strenuous hike, just a little walk back through the bush. Takes you down to the creek. Let's have a look. Oh, that water looks so nice and clean. Nice to see water like that again. Wow, nice. Have a drink. So the park warden came over and talked to me, or one of the officials here at the interpretive center, told me to take the drone out of the air because it's against the law. But that's the thing, you put the drone up right away, do all the stuff you want to do, then let somebody come and tell you that you're not allowed to do it, but by then, hopefully,
Then you say, oh, shut up.
yeah, apologize and land it, and you've got the shots you want.
I am saying it is 26 warm, sunny degrees here. Toronto's at 19 and 20. Where would you rather be?
Yeah. And take
On the Dempster, on the way.
take a look where we are too. It's a warm, the air is warm. It's breezy, but the sun feels hot on the face. This is the Ogilvy River, Dempster Highway, and it is quite warm today.
Well, not too far up the road, we spotted some trouble. That's smoke on the horizon up there. There's a forest fire on the Dempster Highway. Time to put the drone in the air.
Fire going.
I could see it. Both sides of the road, I could see the flames.
Yeah, both sides of the road.
What are you estimating for passage?
Well, we might be able to get through in a little while. We're just monitoring it for now.
Can you do a pilot car through?
Yeah, maybe.
Any idea how big it is?
They were saying 3,000 hectares so far. Probably bigger today.
So the situation is that we can't move forward north on the Dempster right now because of that forest fire over there. It's been burning for over 24 hours now. That truck way down the road up there, that's a forestry vehicle, and he's up assessing the situation, seeing whether or not we can get through. If they do let us through, they're going to put pilot cars out, one in front, one behind, take the 20 or so vehicles that are sitting here. And Mr. Mueller here, it's his call. He's with YTG Highways. He's going to make the call whether we can get through or not.
Then just like that, the word was we were going through with the pilot car. Had to get the drone on the ground really quickly, and we were heading out through the fire.
We're in a convoy. Choppers following us right through. This is just like Vietnam. This is great. All right. Oh, this is a great shot. The chopper's right there. Chopper's right there, escorting us through. We're in the convoy. Jeff can stop. Okay, flashers on, a little hard to see. It's all burnt on the side of the road.
10 minutes later, we were through the fire, and we made our way to Eagle Plains, the halfway point on the Dempster.
This is the bar at Eagle Plains. Nobody's in the cafeteria, everybody's in the bar. Let's see what these people are eating here. Christ, did you guys get enough fish? Wow, that's a meal. That's what I should have had. Fish and chips. Can I? Okay. I kind of feel like I'm in a zoo here. All these animals. Got ourselves a muskox over here. Got ourselves a Yukon moose. Doll sheep, mountain goat. Caribou, caribou over here. Be very careful there, man. That caribou's about to nibble on your ear. He's very close to you.
So as mentioned, Eagle Plains is the halfway point on the Dempster Highway. This is the only place to get gas on the Dempster. You can get a tire fixed here, or if you've got some sort of mechanical issue, they can kind of help you out with that, or if you hit the ditch, they've got tow truck service out of here as well. From here, it's only 35 kilometers to the Arctic Circle from the Eagle Plains Motel, where you can stay, get food and a drink.
Well, here's our little group of Torontonians at the Arctic Circle. 66 degrees north, and here they are showing us that we are at the Arctic Circle. Now from this point and from this day forward, the sun will not drop below the horizon for 6 weeks. course, it's exact opposite in the winter, on the winter solstice. But right now we're at the summer solstice. This is the 21st of June, 2017. And the sun will not drop below the horizon anywhere along the Arctic Circle for 6 weeks. Here I am, Arctic Circle. Never been at this side before. Certainly been above the Arctic Circle, but never standing right here.
Now, it just so happened that the day we were at the Arctic Circle was the 21st of June, which was the summer solstice, so truly the land of the midnight sun. Now, 6 months from now, on December 21st, this whole area is going to be known as the land of the polar night.
This is the Fort McPherson ferry crossing. Ferry's on the other side, and that is a good thing for us because it'll give us time to get the drone in the air and get some photos of the ferry coming across. Very short crossing. This is the Peel River. Just takes a few minutes to get across. I think it runs from, what does it say, 9:30 till 10:45? 12:45, so it runs quite late. We've got some mud on the truck now, some calcium. Well, maybe he wants to go back again. He liked the ride so much he wants to do it twice.
It's actually really quick to get across the river. It only takes about 10 or 15 minutes to cross the Peel. There's a cable that's hooked up to the ferry and the shore. Just pulls the boat right across, and then you only have one more crossing further up the road at the Mackenzie River.
This is the Fort McPherson Cemetery, and the mad trapper from Rat River, Albert Johnson, is supposed to be buried here somewhere. And also the members of the Lost Patrol, the RCMP patrol from 1910 that got lost on their way from here to Dawson, are supposed to be buried in here somewhere as well. So this is the graveyard in Fort McPherson where Albert Johnson, mad trapper of Rat River, lies in peace, or maybe not peace, but he's here somewhere.
These are now the last few kilometers of the Dempster Highway. 736 kilometers in total, or 457 miles. It runs all the way from the Klondike Cutoff all the way up to Inuvik, Northwest Territories. The Dempster was opened back in 1979. It is then and is today Canada's only all-weather road to cross the Arctic Circle. So having done the Dempster Highway, we rolled into Inuvik, Northwest Territories. Inuvik is about 200 kilometers above the Arctic Circle. There's about 3,400 or so permanent residents who live in Inuvik, and there's the Dome Church, probably the most famous building in Inuvik.
This is Alistein's in Inuvik. It's the last place that's open on Aboriginal Day, June 21st, 2017. We're lucky to get in here, but the bikers have just showed up and they think they're going to get a meal, but they're not. So that's too bad for them. So this is the seating arrangement, Lois. You just sit right outside. The teapot's always on. Help yourself. Always a mug up. Do that. Sit out here. Or are we actually going in? The bikers can sit outside. We'll go in.
Also, the fish tackles.
So to pay, you just go inside the school bus, which also doubles as the kitchen. Here's our chef. The next day, our four Southerners decided that they were going to fly to Tuktoyaktuk on the Arctic coast so that they could dip their toe into the Beaufort
So
Sea.
you'll have most of the delta on your left, and then there'll be a hill towards the tundra on your right. 15 minutes later, after that, we'll hit Reindeer Station. We'll go a little bit off to the west, hit the coastline for 5 minutes before we get to Tuk. You'll see a lot of driftwood on the shore. All the wood they used for building their houses and stuff in Tuk back in the days was just driftwood from the Mackenzie Delta. So it flows out of the river and it goes up to on the coast there. After that, we'll climb up, we'll go right over the tundra. You won't see any more trees till we get to Tuk.
We can do a very quick tour of all of Tuk with a 360-degree view from here. Okay, we're down at the beach in Tuk, and they have certificates for toe dipping, wading, swimming, and skinny dipping, and we believe Malcolm is heading for the skinny dipping. It is now safe to video again. Malcolm has all his clothes back on.
Is this what people will wear in the winter? There we go. Yeah.
What do you think?
To keep warm traveling. Is that right? Yeah. People go behind you. We'll get your pictures taken.
Yeah.
Real tourist.
All right.
So after a 5-hour visit to Tuktoyaktuk, our group made it safely back to the ground in Nunavik. We packed up, and the next day we made our way back down the Dempster Highway, where I got these spectacular aerial views of a storm brewing along the Dempster. We then spent one more night in Dawson City, and in the morning we got up and made our way down to the Yukon River to board the George Black Ferry and cross the Yukon River and then do the top of the World Highway.
This is the summit on the World Highway. And I don't know if you can see it way over there, the green buildings. That's U.S. Customs. We enter the United States from the top of the World Highway. And the road just kind of hugs the top of the hills all the way up, winds back and forth. And you just hug the side of the hills as you climb up. I think we're about 5,200 feet or something like that up here at the summit. Temperature's about 6-7 degrees. And it's windy. Welcome to Chicken, Alaska. Population 27 in the summer, population about 7 in the winter time. Bits and parts from various things. Let's have a look inside. We're making a little side jaunt. We're moving off the Taylor Highway about 12 miles, going in out of our way direction to go to Tok, which is an intersection. Big truck stop. There's some grocery stores. We're going to get some groceries in Tok, then backtrack 12 miles, make our way down to 1202 or Beaver Creek, Yukon. This is spectacular. And I only flew out to that pond out there and around the pond.
That far?
Yeah. Wow. So a couple of summers ago I did a little stand-up when I was out in Newfoundland. It was a bit of a trivia test saying where is the most western point in Canada? And I did that while I was standing at the most eastern point in Canada, or at least very close to it. I was at Signal Hill, and the most eastern point in Canada is in Newfoundland at Spear Point. Now I am standing at the most western point in Canada. This is Beaver Creek in the Yukon, milepost 1202 on the Alaska Highway. We stayed here last night. Driven by this place many times, but never stayed here. So this is the most western point in all of Canada, is Beaver Creek in the Yukon. And if you don't believe me, you can take a look at a map and see how far the Yukon extends out west, way past the Queen Charlotte's, Vancouver Island, all of that. So here we are, most western point in all of Canada, just across the border from Alaska, Beaver Creek in the Yukon.
Kumbaya! That one. I hope it doesn't have sound. Kumbaya! Kumbaya, my lord! Kumbaya!
No, he's not. He's on the road. He's not coming this way. He's just crossing the road.
Is that what that is? They've gone away, guys.
This is a place we used to pull off and do skidooing back in here. There's a pull off the side of the road. People park their campers and then unload their snow machines, and you could go back in that country on a snowmobile forever. It goes way back there. Great skidooing, some of the best skidooing I've ever done right here. Do we get to go in?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Don't get to go in?
Oh,
No, she said no.
No, we can't go in there.
See, this is the beginning. This is where they take the heads off, chop all the heads off. Heads go in a bucket for dogs later.
We'll just go in and see. He's going.
And that's that.
Later in the afternoon, we boarded the MV LeConte and made our way towards Junot, Alaska from Haines. It's about a 4.5, 5-hour ride. Good morning from Junot, Alaska. Got in here last night at about 11:30, something like that, on the ferry, the LeConte, from Haines, Alaska, about a 4.5-hour ride down the Lynn Canal. So we're in Junot this morning. This is where the Buds and the Pennies are staying. It's Best Western. I think it's called Grandma Lee's or something like that. I'm down the road a little further at a Super 8, newly renovated, nice, brand new inside. So I'm happy where I am. I'm sure they're happy where they are here. They're just paying a lot more money, but they like it here too. So we're going to go out this morning and see the Mendenhall Glacier. That's the big attraction here in Junot. And then later on we'll go downtown Junot and explore some of that. So let's go to the Mendenhall and see if we can't get the drone in the air out there. So this is the Mendenhall Glacier, retreating like they all are, calving every year in the front, and used to be a lot bigger.
Oh, yeah, straight in front of us.
Got to get a shot of this GS here. It's not so much the GS I want to get a shot of, it's the passenger. He's got his own spot there for riding. He's also the guard for the bike. Wonder how far he's ridden back there. Junot is busy. Those are the legs. Cooking them right out there. One king crab leg, $25.95. I don't think so. That's not really the best deal possible. $25.95, one king crab leg. There's the gondola, takes you up top. Just like Skagway, there's a lot of high-end stores here in Junot as well. A lot of diamonds. All the stuff shuts down during the winter. It doesn't operate in the winter. Everybody heads south or somewhere else, but a lot of high-end stuff here if you want it. So this is the Fairweather. This is a high-speed hydrofoil that runs from Junot to Haines and Skagway. Never been on this one before. Cuts the time in half. I think it's like 2 hours and a few minutes or something like that that you're up in Haines from Junot, so that's half the time of the regular ferry.
Welcome aboard Alaska's Marine Highway and the new Fairweather class of ferries. Please take the next few minutes.
Unloading off the Fairweather in Skagway. Locomotives have been around a long time. These aren't the original ones. They had a round front, but they have been here a long time. They're just hooking up the rest of the cars, load the passengers off the cruise ships, and up to the White Pass summit. Taking a walk down the boardwalk on Broadway Street.
in Skagway. Over there's the Red Onion Saloon, House of Ill Repute. This is 2nd Avenue. Let's have a little look this way. Yeah, they've really changed the look of this town a lot. Just completely redone the downtown core. This is my room at Inn on the Lake on Marsh Lake. I've got the small room, but it's really nicely appointed. It's a log building, and the room is quite nice. It's actually got 2 beds in it. The Buds and the Pennies are in a cabin, a cottage, a little bit off the main building. Dining area, this is for all the guests for tonight. We're setting up for dinner in here tonight. Nice fireplace. The kitchen is sort of where you come in through the lodge. There's our chef and our host preparing dinner for tonight. How many for dinner tonight?
15 tonight.
15. So are you full tonight?
No.
Not full.
No. But everyone that's staying at the lodge today is eating. So
Is eating. Perfect. There's dinner on the stove being cooked. Yes, that's some of it. Some is out on the barbecue. Selection of wines for tonight. Look at this. This is beautiful. All these wines on the go. Surprised the chef's not always got a beer going. I was going to say the chef's not sipping any wine while he's cooking.
No.
I always drink red when I cook. Hot tub apparently downstairs. There's an upstairs here with some more rooms upstairs, or at least one room up there. This will be the dining room for tonight. And then there's the view out here. This is the gorgeous view of Marsh Lake. Big balcony. Lots of wood. The building's really quite nice. That's the same kind of roof I have on my cabin. Tin metal red roof. And it's a little bit windy tonight. Hopefully that calms down later. We can get the drone in the air, but that's the lake, Marsh Lake. And then this beautiful deck here. Bring that around. We'll come back around over here. So they're not full tonight, but they do have quite a few for dinner. And then I'll show you where the Buds and the Pennies are. They are right in that cabin there, which is a detached cabin from the main cabin. There's an upstairs, as I said, and a downstairs, and they are situated in there. Maybe I'll get some shots of that later.
So this is recording. It's not just a single photo, so you have to do something, act crazy.
You can walk up 2 stairs. Walk up a couple of stairs.
Walk up a couple of stairs. We'll show the...
Beautiful. Hey.
After a night at the Inn on the Lake on Marsh Lake, we made our way to Atlin in northern British Columbia, which is the only unincorporated town in all of BC.
That's a side shot of the Atlin Inn where we're staying. They got a bit of a party going on right now. One of the RCMP members here is moving on, so there's sort of a going away party. 3 RCMP members are stationed in Atlin. And I just ran into an old friend, Jim Brooks, from Graham Inlet. So good to see him again. We caught up here for a few minutes, a little chit chat. He just flew in a Super Cub from Graham Inlet.
Atlin is often referred to as the little Switzerland of the North, and I think you can see why with these shots. After a night in Atlin, I pulled out my secret map to find my way to Terry and Deana Slonsky's gold mine, which is located about 25-35 kilometers or so along some back roads through the bush from Atlin.
And this one feeds the plant.
Oh, so that loader brings the stuff here?
No.
Oh.
We'll go around the other side, takes the tailings away. So everything that comes out of the sluice box.
Yeah.
They bring it from the pit over there. Like Terry's digging a pit over there. You
right.
Can see where the hill. They bring it over with the rock truck. They dump it here. That loader picks it up, dumps it here. And then this is the sluice box, and then all the tailings that come out here. That big loader scoops this up and moves it away, because otherwise it would just build up.
Good to see you. Been a while. Friends from Toronto area, Malcolm and Kathy, Jeff and Linda. This is Terry. There's a bit of gold here. What's that?
Pyrite.
Pyrite.
Yeah.
So what is pyrite?
That's a sign that you're getting into good gold. There's the 2 ounces. They do about 100 yards an hour. Pretty well twisted all off. See that where that green rock is?
Right.
That stuff is really good today, that with the green rocks in it. And then the reds run about an ounce 100. And then,
so you can kind of tell just looking at the type of the material?
Well, we've been mining. It's all this kind of, the whole way it's been like that. So all the gold will be, this is just a rubber bottom.
Yep.
With a little set of ripples underneath it, just on a can. They just also feed it in.
And then catch it in the bucket?
And then we'll run all the dirt through, and then we'll take, it flips up, see this little tray here?
Yeah.
This up, and this flips up on its side, and then you just wash those out. Take all the nuggets. That takes a couple hours.
It's nice to see that the gold pan is still used in some part of this operation.
Oh yeah, you use lots of them for cleanup.
This is the modern gold pan. This is sort of the final step when you're down to black sand. You put the sand in this turning wheel, and then you can separate out the real fine gold. This is a fairly small family-run operation by Terry, Deana, and their son Dustin. Maybe less than 10 people working here. They have a lot of money tied up, though. If you look at some of the equipment here, this stuff is not cheap. Their camp is set up, and it runs from early spring when the water starts flowing right up until the water freezes up in the fall. And this is what it's all about.
And it takes it down. These are pickers, we call them. We pick them out of the mat stake. Okay. And then you screen it down. And so then you get these ones out. They'll pan them out, and you take the black rocks out of it. And then the really fine stuff like that, there's a lot of black sand, and there's a wheel out the front there. So you try to separate that.
How would you get the gold out of something like that?
Well, you wouldn't. A lot of people, I mean, you could melt it, crush it, and melt it, and that's what they do.
Here's one final shot of our Chevy Suburban. We're back at the rental car place driving Force up on Range Road in Whitehorse, returning the car. We have put 4,650 kilometers on this vehicle over the last little over 2 weeks, about 17 days, through the Yukon, the Northwest Territories, and also through Alaska. So We've put quite a few clicks on that car. This is going to be expensive. We're just in now figuring out how much, because you're only allowed 100 kilometers per day free. The rest you pay, I think, 20 cents per kilometer. So it's been a great trip though. The vehicle served us pretty well. It was a comfortable vehicle to ride 5 people in. No flat tires on the Dempster or anything like that, so that all worked out pretty well for us. So this is the end of our Yukon adventure, summer of 2017, in middle of June into early July. It's time to pack her all up and head out of the Yukon, head back south to Toronto and all that traffic. But it's been a great trip. Everybody got along pretty well. It all worked out pretty good. And I think Jeff and Linda and Malcolm and Kathy really enjoyed their first trip north of 60. They saw some great territory. I saw some new roads as well. Thanks for coming along on the trip with us, and we'll see you on the next Yukon Bob video.
Thank you.